Hello, tacticians and strategists, generals and soldiers of the Soviet-Finnish Winter War and gamers. Welcome back to the conclusion of Strategic Mind, Spirit of Liberty and the Prologue. So we just finished the last mission. Now we are here at headquarters and we can't go on, but it's fine. So I just wanted to say a little bit about it. We saw some of the mechanics and stuff. Let's have a short summary. So the game takes place obviously in Finland, that is being assaulted by the Soviet Union. That's the historical background. 1939. The Soviets are probably rather thinking of a Russian Empire. By the way, it's a nice coincidence, but just today I read an article written by a Ukrainian historian who's teaching in a British university, and he did a little bit of explaining there. And in his opinion and to his estimate, actually there was actually a decline happening of the Russian Empire that actually started like in 1915 already, when during the First World War, when it was clear that the Russians didn't fare well against the German Empire, and this attack that happened 39, that was of course aiming at gaining more territory. So the Russian I just want to say the Russian Federation, but that's the next step. So the Soviet Empire or the Soviet Union actually was as expansionistic as the Tsars before it. They just wanted to gain back what they had in their empire before. But Finland gained its independence after the First World War, right? So, and you can imagine why they wanted to be independent than rather being subject to the Soviet Union, as most other countries here, like Ukraine, the Baltic states, and Poland, while they actually all didn't want to remain part of something like Soviet Union or its predecessor, and this way, the Russian assault on Ukraine later on in 2022 is also a continuation of the wish of the Russian government, basically to re-establish this empire, but it's actually, this whole thing is in a decline, not completely destroyed yet, but in a significant decline, contrary to Germany, for example, that the German Kaiserreich, the emperor, and the 22 kings in the German Empire up to the First World War, but that one, it broke apart. Basically, the Kaiser resigned and the monarchy was done, basically, in the German Empire after the First World War. And with that, all the colonial endeavors stopped as well in Germany at that point. The Nazis, of course, tried to re-establish that one as well. So they tried to re-establish a German Empire. But they failed, of course. As with Putin, it will most likely happen as well. And but here in 1939, so the Soviets tried to get a good chunk out of Finland. And that's the big background here. So, and the game itself, as we have seen, is based basically on the old Panzer General principle, like hex fields, as we've seen, a lot of units. And what I really like about the game is that we have the opportunity to customize our units here. What's the revamp? Ah yeah, the additional equipment slot. So we can customize them here with the equipment. Quite a lot of stuff. I imagine that there will be much more stuff in the course of a campaign. I personally also think that it's most likely very interesting to play the Blitzkrieg version of this one. But I also have that one on my personal list. But as I am playing Panzer Corps at the moment, it's just getting too much of the Second World War for the moment, for me personally. But this game I really like. It also helps to understand history a little bit better and the bigger circumstances and connections. And I think what the developers try here is to give a little bit more context, so that's way better than Panzer Corps in my opinion. They try to give a narrative. There are the characters like historical figures. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I also like very much that with all our military successes, we get these little bonuses here. It's nice. Yeah. Maybe it doesn't make such a big difference if you are really successful or not so much. Yeah, but it adds up. And it's also a very nice motivation, you know, to do better. And I like it. And also you have a nice feedback, in my opinion, of what you get. So, and then you can also customize your play style or your, you know, what you think, what your tactics should be with all these abilities here. And I think that in the later game this will be very effective and very nice. And that certainly adds to the long-term motivation, because otherwise, like a game like the old Panzer General and Panzer Corps, for example, in my opinion, they mostly rely on new units. That keeps you going in a way. Yeah. Then, of course, the maps can be interesting, but at some point with these older games, things are getting quite repetitive. The gameplay itself is not really evolving, and that's also a thing that I like about Strategic Minds, like the whole series as it appears, as much as I know from it so far. You have a lot of these little secondary objectives coming up here and there, as we have experienced. So I like that one very much. It adds to the whole situation and the flavor, in my opinion. And I think they squeeze really a lot out of the general gaming concept of this hex field strategy game, right? So, and then, thinking of just the mechanics that we have seen so far, I personally like it. I find it rather well-rounded. A lot of units that were relatively useless and uninteresting in the old Panzer General and Panzer Corps games, like for example the anti-tank gun, like here this one. They have their these ones. They really have their value here in this game. Yeah, so we can ambush if someone drives into their range. That's really nice. Yeah, like this one, Overwatch. They have this automatic Overwatch ability, and that gives them viability. And we can establish a well-rounded core of units. And for me personally, it's really a lot of fun. I think there is a lot of thought in there and effort, they didn't make it too easy on themselves. And from what I've seen so far with the Winter War, it also appears to be rather accurate. Yeah, like these the tank models. Yeah, so that's actually pretty nice. And it's also more modern, obviously, than the old ones. Yeah. And then that being said, I personally can recommend it. I think it is, while the graphics are debatable for some, yeah, I mean, let me just load a game. So this autosave here, let's go in there again. we had seen it, right? So like if I can zoom in and out, that's also a very nice feature in my opinion. But what it lacks is really like a complete overview. So this is the maximum we can zoom out, and then I personally can barely make out the units here, right? I mean, here it's pretty obvious, but when they are inside the forest here, you need to mouse over it to see the frame, but you can't really make out what it is. But I mean, on the other hand, it's a tank, yeah. And what exactly it is, you can see then if you zoom in, yeah. And if you mouse over it, it says up here, right, what it is. So I guess you get used to it. I mean, I felt in the beginning that it was a bit unusual, but right now this is the, if I counted correctly, this is the third scenario, I think, or maybe the fourth even, I'm not sure, but I feel that it's okay. Yeah, I feel I can cope with it. While it's not like with Panzer Corps, for example, while it's not as ideal to really make out very quickly what kind of units you find, the graphics are of course way less bleak than with Panzer General and Panzer Corps. And yeah, I like it very much. So it's really nice for the eye. If you drive or you fly somewhere or you go somewhere, like, okay, well now I don't have any active units here, but you know what I mean, like these guys. No one. Well, then let's end the turn here just to check out. Yeah, here they are detected. Yeah, here. So we shoot, right? So the whole graphical thing. Oh yeah, they behave differently, by the way. I find it pretty fitting. It makes it more interesting, although of course it takes more time to watch the animation, but we can also just by clicking speed it up, yeah. So in my opinion it's pretty nice. Then like going here, for example, yeah, you can watch the unit move like this, yeah, or the planes going here, for example. Okay, he didn't do it like automatically, but let's bomb this one, for example. Okay, no, he doesn't attack then. He doesn't do it all the time, but like this, yeah. So it really adds to the flavor. I like it, and well, the colors. I mean, I got used to it right now, and I think it's pretty simple. You know, you have the green round ones for your core units. You have yellow square ones for your auxiliary units, and you have red square ones for your enemies. So even if you're colorblind, like the square is completely square, while here, as you can see, it's a little bit flat, right, on the corners. So even if you're colorblind, then you can make out what is what. And actually, I think that is very thoughtful of the developers. While in Panzer Corps, I think if you are colorblind, you have probably more problems. On the other hand, in that game there are not many colors anyway, except for grayish and greenish. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I like it, although it makes this whole thing look a little bit more like an arcade game, yeah, and not like a serious strategy game that it actually is. And it's, yeah, in my opinion, it's a better approach to the whole thing, and a fresh approach in many regards. And as we can see, we have lots and lots of different options to also build our army, to customize them here with the equipment. We are not in that zone, but we are in the zone here, right? Oh, do we? Are we? Can we do something? No. Well, okay, but we are here, right? No, we are not, but there. No, we don't have any units here, but here, you guys, so this tank, right? So, lots of options, stuff we can rob. So I guess that would be even more interesting in a campaign where you play the Wehrmacht, because they really relied very much on just robbing and salvaging and looting stuff, because they didn't have so much equipment themselves. That was also like competitive with the allied equipment and stuff, as we have also experienced and learned in my Panzer Corps playthrough so far. Well, but I like that very much. It adds very much to the flavor. Then, as we have seen, like the defensive fire, that really makes things more interesting in my opinion. You need to be more careful, but it's controllable. So you get punished if you are stupid, in my opinion, and it works out well if you are smart, and that's what a good game that is about thinking should be about. So that's my evaluation. And while the graphical downturn is that you sometimes can't really make out the unit so well, all in all, I like it a lot, and my eyes have actually even accepted the hex field color right now. I mean, it would be nicer maybe if there were choices like in the menu or something, if you could do something with the setting. Video, maybe. Is there anything? But you can't, right? No. Like this one. Just to change the colors maybe. That might be a nice addition. For your personal liking, I think that would also be an easy thing to implement, just to change the tile here, the frame color, maybe, that would maybe add to it. And then one disadvantage is also that sometimes, as you can see here, you can't really make out very well where they go, right? I mean, with experience, okay, they usually can only go like this and shoot, and if they go further, they will be on their truck, like there, right? And then they can't shoot from there. But sometimes it would be nicer to see it in a better way. So that's for me personally, it's the only criticism, the only real criticism I have, which I really find very inconvenient sometimes. Or like here, but I mean, you can barely see it. So with some experience you get used to it, but it could be better, especially so new players get into it easier. Otherwise, we've talked about the game mechanics, and if you have watched this playthrough of this prologue, I think you know everything. You can make up your own mind. I personally evaluate this game maybe as an 82 points, so it's pretty good. I really like it so far from what I know of it, and I see quite high potential, and in time I personally will definitely play this one here. Let's get back to the main menu. I personally will definitely play at some point the Pacific, the Blitzkrieg, although at the moment, because I find it, the Germans, while being the evil ones, or mostly the evil ones, they are also kind of the underdogs, right, in my opinion, although everybody is shivering. But what they accomplished in military terms with, like the really inferior equipment, that's really interesting. That's why I personally like to play as the Wehrmacht. So far this one is for me personally interesting, and I'm going to play it eventually on my channel. I don't have the game yet. But firstly, I'll finish my playthrough of Panzer Corps Gold, and then the Spirit of Liberty is certainly very interesting for me personally, because it's also a different setting, right? So, well, you know, I mean, of course, sometimes it feels like the whole idea of the Pacific and the Second World War, like in Europe and the Pacific, it also gets a little bit old, because you have so much stuff about it, so many games about it. It's still a great setting, but going into the Finnish or the Soviet-Finnish Winter War is actually very interesting and nice. So this one is certainly pretty high up on my personal list. So that being said, I hope you enjoyed this Let's Play of the Prologue of Strategic Mind, Spirit of Liberty. I think it's a pretty good game. Looks very promising also for future games. As most games, it's not perfect, but I like it a lot. Vote it or evaluate it at 82, 83 points maybe. I think it's actually better than Panzer Corps. And more interesting, especially in the long term. And yeah, if I think, well, maybe you want to play the Prologue as well and check out if it suits you. Yeah, and then thank you for watching. If you have any thoughts you wish to share, please do so in the comment section. I would welcome that very much and appreciate it very much. And I would also appreciate it if you click the like button and sign up to the channel, so you never ever miss an episode again. See you next time. Bye bye.